Hey, what's up? My name is Leif, and in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what I eat in a day on my vegan lean bulking nutrition program. So I'm currently following an intuitive eating approach, which means that I'm not tracking everything exactly every single day when it comes to my nutrition. But for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what I ate in terms of macronutrients and micronutrients at the end of the day. So let's jump in with my first meal. Hey, what's up? Good morning. We are getting the day started with a green drink. So I've got Green Vibrance. That's my go-to green powder. It's just packed with a lot of micronutrients that is really beneficial to your health. I love adding some carrot juice, so you can go ahead and add some of that as well. And then I'm also going to add a splash of lemon juice. This just really gives it a nice additional flavor. Now, this isn't necessarily the most delicious drink, but it is super nutritious, and I really love getting my day started with tons of nutrition like this. So you can use kind of maybe whatever type of green powder you want, or make your own green smoothie or green juice, but it's a really great way to get the day started. Cheers. All right, so for meal number one, before we hit the gym, I'm gonna make some mango protein oatmeal. So super easy recipe and also high in protein. I've got my Pyrex container here. I love using Pyrex in the microwave because it doesn't heat up as much. So I'm going to go ahead and add some quick oats to this. It says 84 grams. I'm gonna go ahead and add some water to that. For this protein oatmeal recipe, it's really important that you add a little bit of extra water than you normally would. So I don't really measure it out, I just kind of eyeball it. And that extra water is going to provide some extra liquid for the protein powder to mix into it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, put that in for 3.5 minutes. So this is the exact kind of consistency that you want from the oatmeal when you're making protein oatmeal. So it's really kind of fluffy, and that's because we added some of the extra water in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my mango. So I love using frozen fruit in protein oatmeal because it's less expensive generally for frozen fruits, and it also is picked right at the peak of freshness. And the other thing that is really helpful with the frozen fruits is when you put it into the hot oatmeal, it cools down the oatmeal so you can eat it right away. So 334 grams. The last step is to just add the protein powder. So I have KOS protein here. You can use whatever protein powder you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a 1.5 servings of KOS, which is 3 scoops. And that's going to give me 30 additional grams of plant protein from protein powder. I love making mango protein oatmeal because it just looks so happy. It's like a really happy looking dish. All right, so I used about 1/2 cup of milk. All I like is just adding a little bit to provide some extra flavor. I actually got some raspberries at the grocery store, so I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of those. 51 plus 30, 81. All right, so this is the end result. We got mango protein oatmeal. Sometimes I use mango, sometimes I use blueberries. You can really use whatever you want, and it will be really delicious and nutritious. I love consuming protein oatmeal before a workout because it has protein and carbohydrates to really fuel my workout and help me to initiate the muscle growth and recovery process. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, and then we're gonna crush a workout. All right, today we got a push workout. I'm hitting chest, shoulders, and triceps. My goal right now is to build lean muscle, so I'm focused on doing some heavier compound lifts first in my workout, and then transitioning to some lighter accessory lifts. And then we're gonna go fuel up with lunch. I look forward to seeing you there. All right, just got back from the gym and I'm really looking forward to eating some fajitas. So that is gonna be my lunch. This is one of my favorite recipes. We've got some tofurkey plant-based chicken. This is lightly seasoned. I also have some fajita sauce, and I've got some onions and some bell peppers. So really simple recipe, and I like making this in bulk. So I'm gonna be making some extra food for the next few days, and let's get to it. We're filming in an Airbnb right now, and we just realized a few minutes ago that there's no cutting board. So I'm gonna be doing that on a plate, and the knives are not great either. So my apologies, it might look a little cringy. All right, so we got our onions ready. I'm going to throw that into the pan, and clearly I really like onion. I have a high quality nonstick pan, so I don't need to use any oil. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of Himalayan pink salt as well. So we're gonna let that heat up, and I'm gonna start cutting the peppers. So these peppers add a really nice flavor to the fajitas, and they are also packed with micronutrients. All right, even though I had poor cutting skills in that, and it was not using the best knife, turned out all right. So I just have these strips of bell pepper. I'm just gonna throw that in. Got the sizzling onions going right now. Gonna mix this a little bit first. See, if you have the right pan, you don't need to worry about adding oil. And oil is one of those things that just adds a bunch of calories without adding any nutrition, and really doesn't add that much taste if you know how to cook without oil. So having foods with low calorie densities, like lots of vegetables, is really helpful when you're trying to burn body fat, because you can more easily maintain a calorie deficit without feeling hungry. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna add is the plant-based chicken. This is absolutely packed with protein, and when I'm going throughout the day, basically I'm trying to create about 4 meals spaced evenly throughout the day, or somewhat evenly throughout the day, that contain somewhere between 30 to 40 grams of protein. So lots of people complicate protein timing, and they think that they need to consume protein right after a workout to make sure that their workout actually matters. That's not true. You can consume protein pretty much anytime after a workout. The thing that matters most is that you're consuming enough total protein in the day. And my goal at the end of the day is to get to at least 150 grams of protein, and I usually go a little bit higher than that. But the most recent research has shown us that it's probably ideal to consume protein within about 3 hours of your workouts, and that's generally what I aim to do. The awesome thing about plant protein is there's really no negative effects of consuming plant protein, unlike animal protein. So if you shoot a little bit higher than necessary, that's totally fine. All right, so the onions and bell peppers are now sauteed, and we're gonna add the plant-based chicken. All right, and now the last step is to add our fajita sauce. I once read this article about like mouse pee and poop on the top of cans. So now I'm like really sensitive about always washing them.
Guess you're not vegan if you add that to the recipe.
No, you gotta get that out of there. So now all we need to do is stir this up and let it simmer for a few minutes. So while the fajitas are cooking, I just wanna mention some of the supplements that I take every single day. We have a Brazil nut, pretty much my entire daily dose of selenium, some vegan omega-3s. This gives you EPA and DHA, some seaweed for iodine. And then I also generally have one high quality multivitamin every single day. So this just kind of helps to fill in the gaps with my nutrition, because I kind of change up my diet from day to day, and I really follow like an intuitive eating approach. So this is just kind of some extra reassurance that I'm hitting all of my micronutrient targets. One thing that is really critical to your health is making sure that you're staying hydrated. And it's a lot easier to track your water the bigger your jug. So if you have a larger jug, it's easier to just track like 1 or 2 refills instead of tracking 8 refills throughout the day. All right, so the fajitas are ready to go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plate it up. So we have large flour tortillas. You can use whatever type of tortillas you want. This is not necessarily like a health food, but I'm really a big proponent of balancing food that you really enjoy with food that's really nutritious. So I like striking a balance there. So I'm actually going to begin with some of this hummus. All right, so that's 50 grams on the dot. Wasn't trying for that, but that's what we got with hummus. $257 grams. So the last thing that I'm going to add here is some kale. I absolutely love kale. So if you don't like kale, you can use a spring mix or just some lettuce or whatever you want. But that's it, super simple. You can also use guacamole or whatever other kinds of sauces you want to use, but I love using hummus. So I'm going to just start with one of these burritos, but I might have a second depending on how I feel. I really like listening to my body and seeing kind of how my hunger levels are, and just kind of eat intuitively throughout the day. The main things I'm really focusing on are making sure that I'm maintaining a slight caloric surplus and also making sure that I'm consuming enough protein throughout the day. And I'm gonna add some hip peas. And it looks like that's 56 grams of hip peas. So that is going to be my lunch for today. We have a fajita burrito with some hip peas. I'm going to go ahead and eat that and get into some work, and then I'll show you what I'm going to have for dinner. All right, so I crushed some work and now it's time to prepare dinner. I'm gonna be making baked tofu with rice and a side salad. So got the tofu and some other seasonings and ingredients here. I'm going to get started by putting the rice in the rice cooker. So if you do not have a rice cooker, I would highly recommend it. It just makes cooking perfect rice so simple. So generally for brown rice, I like to use a 2-to-1 ratio of water to rice. So I don't have a measuring cup here, but I just filled up this glass, and then I'm gonna fill it up twice with water. Dump it in, turn it on, press brown rice, and it's ready to go. Well, it's not actually ready, but it will be ready. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare the tofu. So I am using extra firm tofu. That is generally what I use when I'm cooking with tofu. So this is another recipe that I love making in bulk. It just makes it really easy to prep all of my meals and have them for the next few days. So that's just a really great way of staying consistent with your nutrition because you just have everything ready to go in the fridge when you're hungry. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to chop these into kind of slabs. When you are cooking tofu and you wanna make sure that it is cooked evenly, it's really important that you have the same thickness for all the slabs. So let me show you how to do that in a way that makes it really easy. Kind of eye the middle of the slab, and I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half again. And generally I like making 8 slabs out of most blocks of tofu. All of them are going to be about the same thickness, and that's really important for ensuring that you're cooking them evenly. So we have all of our tofu slabs, and now I'm going to go ahead and put some aluminum foil down on these baking sheets. Aluminum foil, parchment paper, or just a really good non-stick baking pan. So to make sure that the tofu doesn't stick on the baking sheets, I actually coat them with seasoning first. So that's a little bit of a hack that you can use. I have lemon and pepper seasoning, I have everything bagel seasoning, and I also have this chili lime seasoning. So I got lemon and pepper right here, some everything bagel over here, chili lime over here. Simply take these and we're gonna start laying down the tofu on these sheets. I often will use a little bit of liquid aminos on the top to give it a little bit more moisture as it bakes. So you don't need to use too much of this. And if you're trying to be conscious of your sodium intake, you don't even need to use this. And you can also opt for seasonings that don't contain any salt. I'm just gonna add a little bit. I'm gonna add just a little bit more lemon pepper seasoning. So I just went ahead and did 4 packages of tofu, but you can even do more than that if you wanna just go ahead and meal prep for like 7 days. And we're at temperature, so we're gonna put these in just a minute. But you can go ahead and kind of bake as much as you want to last you for an entire week. And that's a really easy way to have all your meals ready to go when you want to eat them. All right, so we just put the tofu in. I'm gonna set a timer for 35 minutes and then we're gonna check on it and see how the tofu looks. All right, so while the rice is cooking and the tofu is in the oven, we're going to make the salad. So you probably noticed that I have a cutting board now. My mom was gracious enough to run a cutting board over because she lives pretty close to us, to this Airbnb. Just gonna go ahead and mix this stuff together. I'm gonna be adding some sauerkraut for probiotics and also because I like the taste, and I'm also gonna be adding some balsamic vinegar. So it's been 35 minutes and I'm gonna bring this over here onto the counter. And I'm gonna go ahead and flip these. I'm going to let these go another 30 minutes and then we'll check on them.
75 years later.
All right, so our rice is done and our tofu is done. There it is. We've got nice crispy tofu. All right, so we're gonna add some rice. Let's see how much that is. 228 grams of cooked rice. This is the everything bagel seasoning. I'll grab 4 of those. And I'm gonna grab 4 of the lemon pepper as well. All right, perfect. So I already know that this is a full block of tofu because I cut up every single block into 8 pieces. So I don't need to weigh that because I know what it is. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add some balsamic vinegar. And I'm gonna also add a little bit of liquid aminos to the rice. So it's kind of like a soy sauce flavor. Just a little bit. And there you go. That's dinner. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat this and then I'll show you the last meal of the day. So for the last meal of the day, we have a smoothie. So we've got some chia seed and flaxseed here. We have some bananas, mango, blueberries. I have some protein, so we're gonna make it a protein smoothie, and that's gonna be the last meal that I consume today. So I'm going to put the blender on the scale. Then we'll go ahead, we'll put the bananas in first. Some mango. And add some blueberries. I'm gonna fill it up with some water. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of this flax chia seed mix. 2 scoops of this protein, which is 1 serving or 20 grams of protein. And that is that, super simple. Turn that on, blend it up. So that is the banana, mango, blueberry, chia, flax protein smoothie. So I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this while I just kind of relax this evening. And that is a full day of eating for me on this lean bulking program. So now I'm going to jump in and discuss all of the nutrition and break down exactly what I ate today. All right, so that was a full day of eating, and now I'm gonna go through and break down exactly what I ate in terms of macronutrients and micronutrients. So I plugged in all the food into Chronometer, and here are my macro targets and calories. So I consumed about 3,300 calories over this day, and I also consumed 186 grams of protein, about 470 grams of carbs, and about 96 grams of dietary fats. As we scroll down, we're gonna start seeing some of the micronutrients. We got fibers looking pretty good. Generally speaking, if you're consuming a bunch of whole plant foods, you're gonna get plenty of fiber in your diet, and I certainly don't have a problem with that myself. And I guess we can look a little bit at the amino acids before we jump into the micronutrients. So we have all of the amino acids are looking really good in terms of just consuming enough of them. And you see all of the values there. Generally speaking, leucine is kind of the most important amino acid when it comes to building muscle. So I'm definitely consuming enough leucine and have no problems there. So yeah, all the protein intake looks good. Let's scroll up and look at some of these vitamins. We've got all the B vitamins looking good. Vitamin B12, which is definitely something all vegans should consider supplementing with, looking good at over 500% of my recommended daily intake for that. So vitamins A, C, D, E, and K are also looking great, and no problems there. And let's scroll down and check out the minerals. All of those values are looking good as well. So I follow an intuitive eating approach, and I really prioritize consuming a wide kind of diverse array of different plant foods to make sure that I'm getting all of my micronutrients and just getting as much nutrition as possible, while also hitting my macronutrient intake, specifically protein targets, and making sure that I'm maintaining at least a slight caloric surplus as well, with the goal of building muscle. So that's a full day of eating. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions, please go ahead, leave those in the comments, and let me know what other kinds of videos you would like to see. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll catch you in the next video.